Hey y'all. Sorry, we kind of. I mean, I'm not watching it, but we kind of got caught up with the Love Is Blind Argentina and all that. I was just commenting on what she was telling me, so please don't mind us. This is on me because I had to say some stuff, even though I'm not watching. But yes, we are here for season four. That is correct. Season four of Vikings. Um, and these people are crazy. Is what I'm gonna say. Thoughts on season four?
Hey, are they crazy? I think they're just overzealous.
No, they got a touch of craziness to them. They got a touch
Okay.
of craziness.
I think it's overzealous. I think um it was a good transitional season.
Mm.
The cinematography for this season 4, which could have been season 4 and 5, because 20 episodes, who does a 20 episode for one season? History Channel does. Um I think it was a great transition from the old guards to the new. And I don't think we saw much of the seer in this season.
No, which I did kind of realize. Like we saw him in the background more so
Mm-hmm.
than anything. So they didn't ask him a whole bunch because I guess they were like he was like, "Stop talking to me. I don't. I'm old. Go figure it out yourself." That's what he's saying.
Well, we still off the backdrop of Ragnar faking his own demise in order to, conquer Paris. So we are here. But the cinematography for this one, even in the dark times, is absolutely amazing. The actors turned it up a notch this season. I think they were really going all in for season 4.
Hmm. I don't know if I agree or disagree. I guess I agree just because like in the second half we have the brothers kung fu fighting and actually killing one of them, killing the other, which we'll get to um in the literal last in the season finale. um but yeah, they was fighting with each other and fighting with like I guess I was realizing when I was watching this season, rewatching it again, that the reason why I like particularly the first half, or I guess the whole season as a whole, like the season as a whole, was because there's a lot of deaths in here that I've been waiting for like at least a season or two, and so I was like, yes, finally, because I couldn't stand these people, these particular characters, and it's just like fine. I was like, oh, finally, like I had to watch the raggedy face one more time on my screen.
Oh, I was waiting for one demise from scene one, episode one. I wanted to see how it was going to be filmed, how it was going to come to the screen, and I was not disappointed. Absolutely not disappointed. This was chef's kiss.
Mm. But yes, I have pictures again of of the cast, and this the one I have up here is most of them are in most of the season except for like uh the Emperor and Cough, because they Cough, it his and his stuff, he's not making it past episode 10. I don't exactly remember which episode he dies in, but he doesn't make it past episode 10. So that's why. And the Emperor, obviously, he doesn't make it past episode 10, even though he doesn't die. um and then um these are, except for like what's the guy on the bottom right hand there, he kind of jumps in and out a little bit.
Yeah.
So I just put him in because he's a little I think he makes more prominent appearance in season 5, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm remembering quickly, but yeah, I just put him in there. But yeah, pretty much everyone else um either makes their first appearance or in like one episode, or they're pretty prominent in the second half. Because we got Uba, Vitserk, Sigurd, Stake of the Eye, Ivar, the Boneless, Aethelwolf's weird behind. I don't even know. I don't want to even call him Raggedy because he's just weird. He's just weird to me anyway. And then there's Halfdan the Black, which I
Mm.
kind of found out that Halfdan the Black I don't is not technically King Harold's brother. I think they said that that's his father, supposedly. I think or something like that. I didn't quite look into it, but they're not actually brothers. They're like more like father son rather than actual brothers in historic records. But they made them brothers in this, so that's I found that as an interesting twist
Very
there.
interesting considering how a father son that we have in subsequent Vikings.
Hmm. And then obviously Lotus's Boothang, Mr. Bishop Hickman, and his pretty face.
Jonathan Rhys Myers. Okay.
Yep.
This
And we'll
this
get to
was
him.
this was a breakout role for him to get away from being Henry VIII.
Oh, that is true. He was in there. Like I forgot about that. He was
Mm-hmm.
in that. I never. I think I watched like maybe an episode or two or something
You gotta watch the whole.
passingly.
You gotta watch it. You gotta
But
watch it.
yeah.
The
But I do
Tudors.
remember that he was in it.
Yeah.
Do you remember what channel that was on? Any chance?
If that's not HBO, it's on Showtime.
Okay. Okay. Just kind of curious about that one. But yeah. So I mean, those are pretty much the new. These are the new additions up here on the screen, except for that one on the bottom. Uh, Besides, Halfton and Harold and the Sinric or whatever his name is. I can never remember his name, but um, yeah. So those are pretty much the new additions. Pretty much like, but yeah. So yeah, we start off with them um, admitting defeat from last season, and um, you know Ragnar just wounded and you know about to or trying to get into the gates of Valhalla, but he's like they're like hell no, you're gonna stay where you are, and um they're home and he's trying to recuperate, and then they um while he's recuperating he finds or he notices the new slave girl Idu, who is from China, and he's enraptured with her. Um, he's always enraptured with people. This is how why
It's
people are annoyed by him. So
it's it's a new toy.
right,
He's always just trying to discover something. So yeah, that's why he's enraptured with her. He wants to learn, and his learning with her takes him down a path.
man, well, sure does because she gives him. How do I say this politically correct here?
Yidu. It's called Yidu.
Yidu,
Hmm.
Yidu. So she gives him. There's a
She
name on
gives
it.
an illicit substance, y'all, that has his
Yeah,
head hazy.
mm, Hazy's putting it nicely, if you ask me. But
That's how
um,
you can say it for YouTube.
but
He's smoking up
um,
the place. She is from an she's a Chinese captive, and she gives him this illicit substance, and he's mentally foggy.
yeah, that scene that where they were in the house and
Mm,
he was in the boat.
mm.
When I first saw that, I was like, he was rolling like he was actually on the water. I was like, I know you want. I laughed. I was like,
His mind is gone. Isn't this
that
also the season too, where of course he has to lay down the law against Floki?
yes,
Mm.
um because while he's out for the uh out for the count, Bjorn decides he wants to um arrest Floki for the murder of Athelstan, and
Red rum.
so yes, red rumming Athelstan, and um so Ragnar is trying to figure out what he should do, considering um,
Floki is
Bjorn
his
did all
master
the.
of ships.
Hmm. And so he at first he just chains him up in the middle of the square, right in the right in front of the building that he lives in. And then eventually Floki escapes and tries to run away, but they manage to capture him, and then that's when they put him, or that's when Ragnar puts him in the cave tied
Mm,
up.
mm. That
And
was a scene very well
mm,
acted.
yes,
Whew.
and when Floki's all tied up in that cave, his daughter ends up being unalived because of a fever, and that's when he finds out about his daughter being unalived, because Helga refused to mention it until Ragnar comes walking and is like, "You haven't told him, have you?" And she's like, "No." But Folk is like, "What the hell are you talking? What is he talking? What is he talking about, Willis? What do you what's going on here?" And then I will say that is a little sad for Floki, even though he got on my nerves the last two and a half seasons. That was a little sad. I'm not gonna mince
Do
my
you
words
think
and
that
say
was
that.
an eye for an eye since he ended Azelstan? That fate took
Mm,
his daughter.
perhaps.
Mm.
Um, could be. Um,
But what I found interesting with that whole Floki, because that was just mental torture. He is tied up with his hands outward, like if he is, crucified. And there is a drip of water hitting his forehead constantly. Constantly. And sometimes he drinks it and sometimes he just stands there and takes it. That was well done. I thought it went on longer than it should have, but it was intense. That Floki, I don't know how Floki didn't go over the deep end. Like if you're talking,
yeah,
I
and
can't.
Helga. No, no, I was just thinking. I was thinking of what I wanted to say next. But yeah, and then Helga, poor Helga, she was, and this might be a controversial statement that I'm about to make, but she was like a ride or die for this man, even though I don't think he
Bride or
deserved it.
perish. Bride or perish.
Hi, Lotus. Hi, Lotus. Welcome, welcome. But so she really was rocking with this dude, even though I don't think he deserved her whatsoever. I
Really?
think she was too
Okay.
good for him personally.
Okay. Mm.
Because you know how I feel about him, so I think she was too good for him, and he didn't even deserve that daughter. To be quite honest, I mean,
Dag, Floki don't deserve anything, and he is the mastermind and master of ships. And the loyal friend, even if his loyalty goes over the deep end, he loyal. More loyal than your brother. He don't deserve
I,
love and a family?
I just think that he was too petty and too jealous to deserve that. Because it's like I understand that your inner feelings about Ragnar, um, Yes, I said it. I said what I said. Well, I do understand that he was, you know, he was hurt by Ragnar
So was Rolo.
and Rollo choosing to spend his time with Athelstan more than him. And I'm never gonna take away that feeling because you're allowed to have your feelings. I just do not like the fact that he was making negging and snide remarks and then ultimately unalive Athelstan because he couldn't regulate his emotions. And I know this is a long time before we started having these regulating of emotions conversation. However, that's still stand on that. Like you
But
still
but Floki is not any different than the Viking men around him. Many of them would break out fighting or start some ish for no reason. Or we would see no reason, but they're like, wait a minute, you I feel disrespected. Let's go at it. He's feeling that this man is changing his friend and not for the better. I understand his actions aren't, justified, but Floki was riding for Ragnar. I mean, of all the people, he never wavered even when Ragnar treated him terribly, he never wavered.
that
I'm
still
just
doesn't
saying.
give him the right to be doing all the half the stuff that he was doing though.
There's a lot of Vikings doing a lot of things, including Ragnar's brother Rollo, and getting away with it way more than Floki. I understand where you're coming from. That don't mean a man don't deserve a wife and kid. I
Which is
mean,
why I'm saying that these people were just crazy and like that. Like
when
half of these people kept getting on my nerves because of that
when
reason
we
alone.
find out later, she just as off as he is, so they deserve
Uh-uh.
each other.
But yeah, it's just yeah. So he dealt with that in the first half, and then let's see what else. They do end up going back once Ragnar is as healed as he can be physically,
Uh huh.
even though he's withdrawing from the medicine that Yidu is giving him hard and like hard. Because once they get back to France, he's throwing up, sliding down the fabric walls of his tent because he's withdrawing heavily, and they still can't get into the walls of France.
And why
So
is that?
what do you mean? Why is that?
Why can't he get into Paris? He left his brother there to hold it down for him.
That is true.
His brother he left to hold down the fort is the same person that has closed the fort to him. So here we are. Ragnar shows up thinking, I just faked my death to get in here and conquer here and left my quote trusted brother. And here he is returning to Paris, and now he got to confront Rollo. Because why? Rollo married the princess. Rollo is wearing his own crown and jewels. Rollo is now the head of the French defense and their strategies against Ragnar and giving Ragnar a sounding defeat, a brutal defeat that leaves Ragnar broken in spirit and humiliated by his own brother. And now Rollo finally feels he's getting the attention and accolades that he thought he always deserved. Yet I think it was tarnished. But that's just me. Right. He went to the
But
French
yes.
and gained an empire.
Hmm.
And gained it what? If a man, gained the whole world, come on now. Rollo gained it, and now he not only lost his brother, now everybody knows, even though it was whispers before, now everybody knows that you have violated and gone against your brother for these new people. I mean, Rolo, you set your stuff, and Rolo was having a basket of children with this princess.
Not a basket of children. I mean, I guess it's better than a basketball team, but you know.
It's more than a basketball team. It was like a 5 kids running around in that hall with them. She finally, felt like, she finally felt affection from that's what they see it seemed like. But a golly, Rolo, people are blowing smoke up your behind and you are being treacherous against your brother. How could you feel comfortable at night? But hey, that's Rolo. But Ragnar gotta go. Ragnar, he gotta admit defeat
Again,
again.
again.
But then he vanishes.
Oh yeah, he decides he wants to just like. I'm just saying, like, this is what I'm talking about. That I mean, Bjorn didn't fall far from the tree because he's out here on his second wife by now, and just having kids every which way. I mean, I get it. He like. I'm just saying, like, he at least he didn't, as far as I remember, didn't leave for like X amount of years, but still.
Who?
I'm like, Bjorn, because he's on his second wife now
He
with
left for he left for a few years, but it wasn't as much. Ragnar left for nearly a decade. It wasn't that long. It wasn't that long. Bjorn's leaving wasn't that long. But Bjorn, yeah, he on his second wife, but that's okay.
yeah, and
He
so
got to catch up.
no, like like considering how he was yelling at his brothers in the second half when they were going other places, he was looked and sounded like Ragnar to a T. So it's like
Right, and
just
Lotus brings it up. I really didn't think Bjorn married all of them. I thought he only married one.
no, he married that former slave girl after she was freed, but then she up and left, and so they can just up and say, "Well, I'm divorcing you. You're no longer my spouse anymore." And that's probably what happened because that's what Lagatha did when he was when Ragnar was like, "I want to be with Aslog," um, and Lagatha was like, "No, you're humiliating me, so I'm just gonna divorce you and leave,"
Right.
and all that stuff. So, um, I mean, I assumed he married Torvi just because um,
Yeah, he did.
but yeah, so yeah, Ragnar decides to come back after 9, 10 years of being gone. Um, yeah, I mean, we're talking. Yeah, he married Thorin, or how I don't know how to pronounce her name because but he married her. Like, no, I thought he married her before that, like before she got her face cut up. But either way, like he did marry her, but then I assume like with Lagatha, he was like, I'm divorcing her because she up and left when they went to Paris the first or like the second time or whatever, or how whichever time. And then he married Torby Lotus. That's what I'm talking about. Um but yeah, so Ragnar leaves with his tail tucked between his legs. He actually gets off that stuff, supposedly. I mean, I assume because he didn't. I don't think he had any more after a while. But got off that stuff, came back looking haggard and old, or older, I should say. Um, and then his sons, the older versions of his sons, came popping up in the episode 10. Um, after he comes back.
Hmm.
Um,
But we'll get to Torvi in later seasons, y'all, as to who she ends up with.
and So yeah, so then we get to the second part of the season where Bjorn's like, "Well, I wanna go to the Mediterranean. I wanna actually find new places this time instead of going to same two places repeatedly every single year or every other year." Um,
He sounded like Arya. What's west of Westeros?
okay, I have no frame of reference for that, but okay.
Oh, that's Game of Thrones. I'm sorry.
I know.
It's
I
like
mean, I figured that, but I was like, I
everybody keeps going east, and she's like, "Well, what's west?" It's like everybody keeps going to the same parts of England and England, England. It's like, what's the other direction? How about we try
exactly.
the other way?
Yeah. How about we go south or southwest? Uh,
How about we
uh, who is who? Who is that? That Lotus is
Hilda?
talking about?
Was she
Hilda.
trying to say
Who?
Hilda?
Look, who is that? Hel. Yeah.
That
I
is
have no idea.
I think that's Floki's wife.
Helga.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I'm like, I have no idea who that means. Who that's supposed to be? Um.
See,
Look.
Floki's wife.
Helga. Yes, Helga. Funny story. Like I didn't. I think I found this out during the season, like the initial watch. But Helga and Torvi are actually sisters.
Yep.
I was sitting there thinking, like, why does she look familiar? It's like, is that Helga playing a different character? No, that's Helga's in real life sister,
Yeah.
who is actually who. Well, they're both actually the daughter of, I think, the creator of the whole thing, Michael
Mm-hmm.
Hurst.
Yep.
And so I was like, it's a family affair up in here. Okay.
That ain't the only family affair. A lot of other actors in there were related to each other, but not also related to the director. But yes, there were siblings up in there. I mean, it's easy enough if you have the look. You might as well.
Yeah, because I was really confused when I first watched it, Lotus. I was like, I was really thinking that, like, what the hell is Helga doing? Like, why is she playing double time in this series? Like,
I'm
is she,
I'm just confused as to why we have the ombre bleached hair for these Vikings. That's all. That's all I was confused about. But
I mean, Kathleen Winnick is a natural blonde, I think, as it is. So
I
she
said
didn't really have to
ombre,
do.
the ombre of it all, the dark roots to the frosted tips. I know how you feel about frosted tips.
It's just the only reason why I have an issue with Frosted Tips was because that one dude on Married at First Sight. And so I'm sorry we're taking a little detour here. It's just his head frame, and it's just the way his hair is cut is why it's throwing me off, because it's like, why are like
He's a
you
rugby
can
player with a wide neck. It does look
he's
off.
not a rugby player anymore. He's a rugby coach. There's a difference. He's
He
not
was a
playing. He's coaching,
player
but he's not anymore. So he needs
only
to
a
take that.
year ago. Oh my
So
gosh.
so
Jeez, he
that
still
don't
has
mean
the
nothing.
body frame. Just because you ain't swimming no more, don't mean that Michael Phelps ain't got the swimmer's body still. Dang.
That a body frame is different than the hairstyle. Okay, so let's
You
get that
said the
straight
shape
right
of his
now.
head. You said the shape of his
Oh,
head.
because the
You
reason
can't
why I bring up
change
the shape of his
that.
head, the reason why I can bring up the shape of his head, because his haircut doesn't match his head frame. So that's why I bring it up. But
She trying to
anyways,
say his
we
barber
don't.
is the worst.
No, I'm saying he needs to get rid of that haircut. That's what I'm
The
saying.
barber's fault.
No, because the barber can only do what the guys ask him to do. So it's really the guy, not the barber.
Mm.
Anyways, sorry. Side note, got off a little tangent there.
I just don't
um,
like. I just all these blonde ladies and how they're blonde was throwing me off a bit.
yeah, they're not. I don't think all of them are really naturally blonde like that. And the gel making it look frosted and all that stuff is not helping them. So it's like, I understand, but anyways, sorry again. We got off on a little tangent. That's that's bound to happen with this show. Um, but yeah, so Bjorn is like, I want to go to the Mediterranean. Uh, uh, the reason why Ragnar is ragged behind comes back to Kattegat is because I want to go back and avenge the people who died over a decade earlier, in that settlement, and then um, Vitsert decides to go with Bjorn. Uba and Sigurd decide they want to stay with their mom. And then, as Lotus just said, Ragnar takes Ivar to England. Um, and um,
I don't think it was
Lagatha.
an injustice.
mm, I mean, because Ivar did really want to go. He wanted to
Right.
actually be asked. He wanted to be asked like his other like his brothers were asked whether or not they wanted to go with Ragnar. And you know, quite honestly, I have a different perspective of Ivar now that I'm rewatching it, because when I initially watched, he got on my last good nerve, and he kind of still does a little bit. But I have a different view of him now, because I can
Oh,
see how, like, for him, particularly Sigurd's annoying ass. Sorry for the language, but Sigurd's annoying behind. Um, Everybody kept poking the bear, and then they're expecting him to stay cool. Like, yes, he's different. That's not the. It is, in a way, it's maybe natural to kind of not be, what's the way to say this? It's not unnatural to at least have questions, not necessarily treat people like crap, obviously, but to sort of be curious about other people, and maybe not necessarily spend too much time with them, because it's still the unknown for you. It's just when you're keep poking somebody and keep egging them on, and then expecting them to just stay cool and not react, then you have a problem. Because, like, then you have what happened at the end of the season with.
I'm sorry. So are you melting your heart for Ivar, but we still have heat for Floki? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, because
Oh
you
heck
can't
no.
you cannot,
Oh heck no.
because Sigurd and everybody else kept poking at
Because
Ivar.
he was not supposed to live. According to their Viking beliefs, Ivar should have been left in the forest for the wolves.
Well, then
He
he
is a
gets set up.
stain on their house that he is still around.
They had to take that with Aslog, though, because that's Aslog's fault, not his. So
Understood. So you will get the talking about the degradation. They treating you like crap because you weren't supposed to be around. So again, this is their whole shtick. He lucky they were just talking about him and not, well, beating the crap out of him. So
yeah,
yes,
you
yes,
can't, like, exactly what it's like. He yes, he's a hothead, and I'll agree with that. He wasn't channeling that hot headedness into a better way. Um, I
he
mean,
ain't
I
got
don't.
time. He just crawling on his hands, so he ain't
I
got
mean,
time to be thinking of a better way.
yeah, which I understand. I understand, because however, it's just like, I understand him. I don't condone him unaliving the brother at the end of the season. I just, like, I don't condone it, but I understand it, because it's like, at some point you can't keep poking the bear and then expecting the bear to not react violently, like, and
Their entire
for.
existence is violent, so he should already expect to be poked. I'm sorry. I can't warm my heart to Ivar the way you are and leave Floki hanging in the daggone cave.
Yeah, he should have. He should have, but
Mm-mm.
he should have been.
Ivar was mm, as you see how Ivar worse Ivar becomes, but you still sitting here on season 4 saying that your heart done melted for Ivar. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it.
I just I understand him a little bit better after doing a rewatch.
I understand him, but I still think he's a snot.
He is. I'm not saying he's not a snot and he's
And I'm
reckless and
sorry,
it, like
his brother was stupid to underestimate him. That's all
that.
that.
And
That's why he got caught.
that's why he got because he underestimated Ragnar told uh, Ivar in England when they went off into England, people are not going to see you as a threat because your legs don't work, and that's exactly what happened. They didn't perceive him as a threat, and so once they um once they went back to England, once Ivar went back to Kattegat, brought his brothers back, and um they came back with 10 times the army that they had previously, basically, because they underestimated the little snot, and so like, and that's what Sigurd should not have done is underestimate Ivar, and
But yeah, but Ivar been trying to get him. As Lotus points out, Ivar been trying to get him.
because Sigurd kept poking the bear,
And he ain't
and
the only one poking the bear, so why you pick on Sigurd?
I think it's because Sigurd seems to be the instigator in a lot of the instances. I mean,
Mm,
yeah, like there was a scene with Vitserk, Sigurd, and Uba when after those three had the slave girl Margaret, like they all had her spectrally, and they like when it was Ivar's turn, he couldn't perform correctly, and so he became rather short tempered and almost hurt her or unalived her because she was crying and stuff like that in the bed, and so he was like, you better not tell anybody, and she's like, okay, fine, but then she ended up telling Sigurd. So Sigurd ends up telling Vitserk and Uba privately, and so Uba was like, yeah, like Margaret was right to be afraid of Ivar. So yeah, we have scenes like that where we hear you know the others voicing their concerns, whether publicly or privately. But it seems like Sigurd seems to be the one to be overly poking the bear
he
constantly.
can't be held liable because he's the one that the girl came to
No,
tell.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that he Sigurd seems to be poking the bear with Ivar regardless of what the situation is, like what the conversation about
I
in
want to
like
know
regard.
what made Ivar think that he could perform anyway. Everything
I
from
don't
the
know.
waist down, he is Ivar the boneless. Everything from the waist down is boneless. Why did he think? Why didn't he just refuse?
I think he just honestly may have been wanting to be so normal that he was like, well, this is the one thing I'm going to try to make work, even if
If it's
I
never
know.
worked before,
Yeah, right. So
please.
unfortunately, I mean, I'm not saying it's right, but I maybe that's probably what it is
I
because
ain't trying to be understanding for Ivar. I have the heat for Ivar that you have for Floki.
mhm. But yeah,
Ivar
I
could
mean,
not exist in that world without his brothers and his father's protection. He could not. But he could not see, even though they're teasing him, that there is a level of protection. He couldn't see it because nobody could go in there and whoop Ivar's behind but his brothers. And he can't see that. He was more upset about the ribbing and the carrying on about him. Nobody else was carrying on with Ivar the way his brothers were. And I'm sure his brothers wouldn't have tolerated it. I know Ube didn't tolerate it when they had a visitor that tried to say something about Ivar, and not here. That's my brother. So for me, Ivar likes to focus on the cup is half empty. So, but yeah, Ragnar's sons all grew up a little bit differently, and the stain of ending his brother is also why Ivar wanted to go.
Honestly, Vitzer, I mean that's not an uncommon thing for him. The entire rest of the series, to be quite honest, because
Right.
I mean, and I honestly I don't know, um, because it seems like how much Sigurd had such a disdain for his mom because he felt like she was too doting on um
Ivar.
Ivar and all that. Uba and Vitzer, they didn't really have that same disdain for her. Um, and maybe because they're older, they're the two oldest of those four.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and maybe not like obviously feeling like the forgotten children, but they were just kind of like there. And so they didn't really feel the need to be overtly antagonistic like Sigurd. Um, so I mean, they still had, in some regard, maybe possibly some respect for Ivar, despite him being crippled. Um, because as we see when Ivar goes to England with Ragnar, that um
He has a fierce mind.
yeah, he was flipping around on the ground, hacking up to his brethren when you know they landed and gotten some distance in inland, and Ragnar was like, we kind of have to cut our losses with the other folks, and he was just swinging away with that axe. So I
He,
mean,
he found something he was talented in.
look,
I'm serious.
I know.
Other than using his spikes to walk and get around, the actor who played Ivar did an excellent job. All these actors did and for every time he has to walk across the room, excellent. You have to act like you ain't your legs don't work. Shoot. His upper body strength is probably phenomenal now after playing Ivar. But yeah, Ragnar goes to England knowing he might not be coming back.
Oh, he's banking on it because he's been wanting to die. He's been wanting to or be unalived for the longest time, like ever since Athelstan. I'm like, he's been wanting to. So I mean, he was
Yep, because
counting on it.
he's captured and handed over to the king.
But yeah, and then um yeah, I followed the actor for a while after uh Vikings went off. I stopped following him for I don't know why, but
He
I
doesn't do
followed
much
him for
online.
yeah, I think that's probably why maybe because I wasn't really seeing much of what he was up to. I mean, I
Hmm.
actually looked him up recently, like the last few days, and he's actually had some new shows come out, and I think they're
Yep,
mainly stuff
indie.
from yeah, I don't remember what Scandinavian country he's from. I think he's from Denmark, along with the because I think the kid who plays Vitser is also from Denmark, so I think he was doing like some Danish stuff. Um, but yeah, so I might check that out after the fact, but just to see what it's like. But um, yeah, it he I think that's why I really hated him so much when I first watched it because he did such a good job with it. Um, because like when your character is so limited in their ability to be able to move around, you kind of have to make up for it in a
Hmm.
different way, and that I was like, oof. But um, yeah, I mean, considering that Epward didn't want to give Ragnar to Ayla, I'm like. uh like, and the fact that he played Ragnar in them, I'm surprised he didn't want to give Ragnar up. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe
He wanted
maybe
Ragnar to end, but he didn't want it to be at his hands. He knew Ragnar had to end. He knew Ragnar was a formidable foe. He knew it. He knew what had to be done, and he did not want it on his hands. So he give him up. Give him up, where he is brutally handled. I mean, Vikings is all about, authenticity and the brutality of the time. Brutally handled by this, heavyset king. And I have to say that the scene of Ragnar's ending, that was spectacularly filmed. That was a phenomenal ending. I always knew how Ragnar Lothbrok passed away, and I was waiting to see it on the screen, and I was not disappointed. Not in the least disappointed.
yeah. I don't think I could. I mean, I was kind of looking away from the screen at that point, but I was like, I kind of forced myself to kind of look because I was like, hmm.
You
As much
gotta
as
pay
I
him the
think,
respect of watching it.
yeah, well, yeah, because as much as I think he, like, everyone in this show is mostly like an a hole. Like, I was like, I kind of have to watch, but whew.
Well, y'all, what it is he is, after he's tortured, he's left outside in like a bird cage kind of thing. Then it is hanging over a pit, and the pit is full of vipers. Pit is filled with snakes. Now, what they did tell us is that there are CGI ones and there were some real ones in there. And it turns out the actor told us that the real ones, even though they were non venomous, were still biting him. So when you heard him flinch or you saw him flinch, you didn't hear the hissing because those snakes weren't hissing. They added that in editing. He was being bitten by those snakes for real and not yelling out for real. And they did not film that in one take. Just put that in perspective. When I say an actor, throws himself into his craft, that was one of those moments. And then when he closed his eyes and was no more, still getting bitten and got to stay still, okay? You saw the film show, everybody felt it. It reverberated across to all his sons, to Lagatha knew it as well. Oslog knew it too. Everybody felt when Ragnar closed his eyes and was no longer on this plane. So now the series moves from the journey of Ragnar from Viking to, all the way over to England and his wars, all the way now to, well, what's going to happen now? He got multiple sons. What going to happen? But it ain't one of his sons that come to claim Kattegat. Who claimed Kattegat? Who claimed Kattegat?
So Lagatha was like, girl, if you don't come hither and get unalive, I'm like, or leave or something. Like, I, I'm gonna do it for you because you are unfit to be a queen. Like, and this has been long standing, pretty much since you took over from me. So Lagatha was like, okay, girl, you going just gonna have to, like, get gone or something because you're annoying. I don't like you. You took my worlds. And so Aslog was like, okay, fine, I won't fight you because I know I can't win worth the dang. So let me just leave peacefully. But Lakida's like, girl, are you cool? because I'm gonna have to like do something to you
Mm-hmm.
to even things out because you stole my world. And so as Aslog was walking away, Lagatha shot her with a or pulled the trigger.
On that crossbow.
Uh huh. It was like, there you go. I got my revenge.
At her
And but
back.
exactly. And
Which I'm
before,
sorry, that was disgraceful, Lagatha. And she knew it. She knew it. First of all, the people knew it. It's like Aslog isn't a warrior. She is not a shield maiden. And then you went at her back? I don't know how the people didn't shun Lagatha for that. But the sons didn't forget. Ragnar's sons, she tried to round them up.
yeah, she did. She was like, well, if you want to choose, like if you want to, like if Uba and Berserk wants to, or not Berserk, but Sigurd want to choose, like have her choose, or be in the same bed, or whatever happened in that scene. I can, like, whatever she said, you can
If
go
you want,
ahead.
right, if you want to have revenge for your mother, come see me. Come
Well,
see me.
she locked them up because first, and then was like, or was like, she used Margaret to lock them up by trying to get them in her bed, and then she was like, well, if you want to, then she was like, well, if you want to come get your revenge, I'm right here. Um, and it kind of sort of um is about to happen when Ivar, all these boys' names, man, but keep trying to want to call them something else. But when Ivar comes back from England and Sigurd and Uba tell him about their what happened with Asog and Lagatha, he's about to do some stuff, but Bjorn and Vitser managed to come back just before they end up doing some stuff to her, and
He's
was
like,
like,
yo, that's my mama.
right, and
Mm-mm.
we gotta go avenge our daddy first before we do anything. So yeah, and so they make their way back to England again for
They
the
form
umpteenth
they
time.
form the Great Heathen Army.
Hmm.
That was the brothers coming together. Their army was called the Great Heathen Army. And I'm like, why can't it be the pagan army? But the massive force, they get to England, they completely obliterate King I used to call him AL. Completely obliterate him because his whole army, because he's the one who ended Ragnar, did the whole pit of vipers thing. And they
Hmm.
executed him via the Blood Eagle.
And to be quite honest, it wasn't as graphic
No, it
as
wasn't.
as Earl Yarborg's one.
Well, because he
Because
is not Viking either. They were just doing it as torture. There
I
was,
mean, it would have been. I mean,
yeah, it was just torture. This is a English king. This ain't a Viking king. This ain't no Viking that they trying. This I said, why are you performing? That's what I had a question. Why are you performing one of your Viking rituals on someone who is not? This was just plain torture because it was considered a way for disloyal or someone, a Viking who has lost their way, in order to have a way to get into um Valhalla. This man don't believe in Valhalla. Why are we doing the Blood Eagle? But yes, I didn't like it. But they also outmaneuvered King Egbert, who he decided that he was going to handle his life himself. but he signed over land grants to the Vikings before he ended himself.
Did he though?
That's what he liked to say, but mm-mm.
Did he though?
Okay.
Because like
Mm-mm.
he gave he gave his kingdom over to his son, so technically it don't count.
Right, technically, Judith's husband.
So they're gonna get a rude awakening.
Right,
No, 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 it's not Lotus, because technically he wasn't the king anymore. His son is
technically,
technically king now, and only the king can grant that stuff for them.
they didn't
So
know that he already crowned another king and that he wasn't king to actually make that ruling. That's how he outmaneuvered them in his ending. Because it's like, yeah, I signed this land grant. I ain't the person that can grant it. He was sly. But also, what I did like with when Ivar first went there with his father is that he learned a lot. And he picked up on the learning. He didn't just sit there and play chess. He picked up on how the English behaved, what they said versus what they did.
and that's why he was annoyed with every last one of his brothers because it's like, come on, like I get it that you Bjorn have seen more fighting than
Right?
all the four of us combined. However, do you? I mean, you didn't learn a dang on thing when you went with your our father the first or these last couple times to England and even to Paris. So I mean,
He learned his uncle is a betrayer still. That's what he
that's
learned.
all. That's all Bjorn really seemed to have learned about was that,
He,
and that's
he
about
learned how
it.
to end a beer. Now that was good.
But yeah, like, what do you like? Like, can you just? That's why Ivar was so annoyed with all four of the rest of his brothers because he was like, if you're not gonna listen, then what the hell am I doing here? Like, I might have to just gone back home. Like,
You're
like
here
you
because
just
Mama
can't.
said we had to bring you. That's why he did. He did because all the brothers are going, and he couldn't be left behind in Connecticut. Not with Lagatha as the only other person there, and Bjorn was not going to leave him there with his mother in Connecticut. That's why he there. He ain't there because they like him and they will go and listen to him.
And it turns out he was freaking right too. I'm like, should have listened to him before, but no, you guys want to be stubborn as hell. Like that's what y'all get.
Ragnar just lucky that they did not end Ivar at the same time.
Well, that is true.
That's all
They,
he lucky for.
yeah, they're he got lucky that he correctly assumed that they were gonna think that he was no threat. So I
Right,
mean,
right. So he could pick up and listen. But he is Ivar became now the tactical leader of the great heathen army. And he ended his own brother.
he
That was
sure
my
did.
my this was my thing. It's like Lagatha takes, out Aslog, and it's like in the worst, in the dishonorable way a shield maiden can, and yet she's still Earl of Connecticut, or and then Ivar ends his brother, and he's the tactical leader of the heathen army. It's like, I need y'all to get it together. There's some underhandedness going on here. Agatha is the queen of Connecticut. I mean, but other than that, there was another thing I wanted to talk about. Now I lost it in my daggone notes. But the trip to the Mediterranean when they raided the more Middle Eastern
Hmm.
town.
And I think that was technically what like Portugal slash Spain ish because it was encompassing both those countries at the time. Like they weren't countries back then, obviously. So it was like I think technically was encompassing Portugal and Spain. That's what the two countries would be considered today. Because they didn't, I don't think they actually got all the way into the Mediterranean this time, this in this point in time.
Is it because they had to cross the desert sands?
No, I don't think so. I think they just got to. I think that they only got to what would be considered now today, currently Spain and Portugal. Um, but I know, um, next season that's when they do that whole cross the desert thing. I thought
Oh, okay.
perhaps that is what they did in the second half of the season, but when I was watching it, that they didn't actually. They only got to. They only went past France, the coast of France, and that's why they went to Rollo initially, so that way they could get safe passage, and then because they would have had to pass along his countryside anyway, and so they didn't want him to. What I was assuming is that they didn't want Rollo to attack them, thinking that the Vikings were going to try to attack France again. So that's why they went to him first before moving past, so that way they could get safe passage. And then they kind of went down the coast, and they got to the part where that little strip of water that leads into the Mediterranean Sea, but I don't think they actually got too far. I think they may have gotten a little past that, but they didn't actually go into the desert part yet.
Well, they're
Um,
saying that it was southern France, the Balearic Islands in southern France. The Vikings raided there and wintered there, and proceeded to raid inland cities, Narbonne, and y'all forgive me if I'm saying it wrong, and Nimes or Nimes. Then they did get to, they sacked Algeciras, which is in Moorish Spain, and occupied Nicor in Morocco. Then
oh, Morocco.
they also get to Italy and sail the Italian coast. So
Yeah, I think the show didn't get that far. They
no, the
only
show didn't
showed.
get right. The show didn't get that far, but it's Morocco that when they did the sands thing and they got there.
Yes, and I think that's season five, I believe.
Yeah.
Like at least the first part of season five. I don't remember the second part,
Yeah, so
but
it's southern France, which would stand to reason because it's just past Rollo, and it would also show, even though Bjorn doing his own thing, it also give a thumbs up, a thumbs down to Rollo, like, okay, you protecting Paris, but you ain't protecting the rest of these people out here.
mm-mm. So yeah, and then Rollo's stupid behind is like, I'm gonna go with my peeps and go to right now Spain and just like it's stupid behind like he's just an idiot at this point. Like he's just a out and out idiot. Like if you're just gonna turn your back on your people and then do all that and just leave, like you might as well just stay with your people at that point. Like just to be an idiot for what? Anyways, just like so he decides to join them, and then as they're ransacking the place, their Floki of all people is like when he's seeing the people worshiping to Allah in the temple. I don't remember exactly what they call it. I'm sorry. Um,
Mosque.
the mosque. Yes, thank you. They when they're in the mosque, um, uh, calling out to Allah, he's enraptured by them because he doesn't see their God, but they're so passionate about it, um, which is rich to me coming from him. But okay, um, and he tells everyone else when they come in, don't kill them, don't kill any more people because they unalive one person or once they come in,
Right.
and he's like don't excuse me, he's like don't do anything else to the rest of the people, um, and they acquiesce to him again, rich coming from him, but okay. I'm gonna let it go. um, and then Helga, after seeing one of their people unalive a woman, she's like, I want that girl to be my daughter, and takes the girl as her own, even though she shouldn't have. She should not have done that. I mean, I
She
get it
should,
that
yeah,
Floki,
she should not have, but I don't think they directed it in a very in a good way. They they directed it like she became unhinged and wanted that girl when it's really the girl when they raided became an orphan
by their own hand, though.
right by their own hand. I understand that.
And she
And
was just desperate. Yeah, like Lotus just said, she was grieving her daughter,
yeah,
her daughter, and so she was like, and she actually asked Floki, like, hey, I wanna have another child. Floki's like, heck no, we're not gonna have another daughter or another child at all, regardless if it's a daughter or son. And so she's like, well, pointing to the girl, like, I want you as my child, and decides to take her anyway. And look how that turned out in episode 20. um, yeah, she like once they get, wait, was it when they got back home or no? Because they were still there. I think no, they were in England at that point because they took because they were that was episode 20, so they had just I think Blood Eagles ate like 2 episodes before that, and so I think they were still in England when this happened, but the girl ran away. Tenaroos, I think, is what they were calling her. I don't know if that was actually her real name or her name or anything like that, but she ran away. Floki ran after her, or Floki and Helga ran after her, or something like that. Helga found her, and then the girl decided to stick a knife into Helga, which ultimately red rummed Helga, and then she unalived herself. So in episode 20, so that was something. I was like, ugh,
careful what you wish for.
right? But yeah, and then Floki's all sad because he's like, I acquired three great tragedies or something like that. First it was when my daughter died or was unalived, and then it was Ragnar when he was unalived, and then now it's Helga who's unalived. So three parts. It's like, mm, not gonna say nothing, but okay.
I'm not going to say nothing either. But Lotus Cassia was season 5. That's why I'm not talking about her. I saw your comment, but she's season 5 when we hit the Mediterranean. But yeah, this season was basically the ending of Ragnar and his legacy living on throughout his children. Like we said the last week in the last recap, basically we see a bit of Ragnar in each of his children, and it's just amplified up a notch. They aren't a well balanced version of him. Um, and we do see some characters go from real bloodthirsty to dial it down a notch. Some come into their own, but it's all about who are you after Ragnar is gone. Who are you? What you gonna do with your life now that you're no longer tethered to him? Lagatha is no longer tethered to him, but she tethered to his memory. She had to become the queen of Kattegat again. Why couldn't she just keep on moving? Bjorn still trying to prove to his father that he's worthy. All his sons trying to prove that they're worthy. And now they have a mutual enemy, which is Lagatha. Why would you have Lagatha be the central point or central figure of the anger from Ragnar's sons? And then Rollo with his bejeweled self all up in Paris. Yeah, it could be that Floki was heartbroken. It could be, but I think what resonated more so, Lotus, with Floki is that he went into the mosque and they continued to pray.
Hmm.
They weren't fighting them. They weren't fighting them. They continued to call to their God. And that, I think, too, is what resonated with Floki. Oh, y'all are so deep in prayer that if we walk in here, y'all ain't gonna do nothing but pray. It's like, but our Odin and stuff, it says we need to fight. They ain't even fighting. So it's like, why end non-fighting people? Why end them? And it could be seen as more diabolical that he didn't think that they were good sport to end. So it was definitely interesting. But hey, that scene of Ragnar getting bit, it was moving, and even more so when we found out the actor was actually being bit. I will forever go down saying that.
That so what I'm hearing you say is that was the highlight of the season for you.
That how it was filmed is the highlight, not that he ended, but
Right,
how it was
right.
filmed was the highlight. The actual, real tension for me is when Ragnar's sons went for Lagatha and Bjorn was like, mm-mm,
He
we ain't doing
said
that.
he said not on my watch. If you
Not
know,
my
you know.
mama. Yes, she ended your mama, and I'm heartbroken for you. Go cry in a corner. But we got work to do.
Go grind the corner. Not go grind the corner.
Go cry in a corner if you need to. But we got work
Right.
to do. Yes, your mama, you gonna handle your mama's revenge, but right now we all gotta handle our daddy issues first.
Right.
And then after that, if you wish to, then we could talk. Cause you ain't getting to my mama unless it's through me. Right, Lotus, you were able to let Ragnar go after seeing the scene. I did. I really didn't want to see the actor go. I really didn't. But yes, it was a peaceful transition. And I was peaceful because if you look at the history books, he was placed in a pit of vipers, and I don't think his body was ever given back to his people. I don't think it was ever given back to his people.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Like I think after a while and maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I think for them maybe they have to be able to um give the Viking funeral with their entire body, and that includes before it kind of becomes a a, a, dirt fuel, if you want to call it that. I mean, I'm trying to be PG here, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading too much into that and all that because they don't explicitly state that, so that's probably why I'm reading too much into it. But um, I mean, if not, then
I
never
just
mind.
don't like how some history books, written by English folks, try to say Ragnar wasn't a real person. And it's like, oh, it's a legend, as you say, Lotus. They try to make it seem like Ragnar wasn't a real person and that it could be many different kinds of people, but then you have different points of the journey, you know, written correctly. It's for me, I think they wanted to basically erase the defeat that the Vikings gave them early on. I think that's what it was. But you very well have it written that King Aela of Northumbria ended Ragnar in a snake pit. Well, if the person didn't exist and was a legend, how are you so sure about that? But then you're like, oh well, it's folklore in some parts of it. It's folklore in some parts of it. So again, but you have lots of things to say about Bjorn. Lots of things to say about Bjorn Ironside, but not about his father. Okay, okay. So Bjorn was real and well documented, but not Ragnar. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. But yeah, I really adored. I wish this was broken up into season 4 and 5. I wish it was broken up into season 4 and 5. But they decided to give you 20 episodes, and I ain't really for that kind of long thing.
Yeah. I think the only reason why they got away with it was because it was on History Channel. And that's not like um a typical, show on like ABC, NBC, CBS, or whatever. So, um, maybe I don't know, but
Understood.
not
Yeah.
not Ragnar as their Jesus. Uh, I mean, with the way he was raggedy,
Right.
I don't know if they want
Especially
to call
with
him as Jesus, but
right, especially with Lagatha and so forth.
hmm, yeah. I was just happy that some like half these people that I don't didn't like got what they got. I know next season there was a character that doesn't make it. And um, she kind of doesn't make it because not because someone else unalives her, but because she gets something that doesn't necessarily have they don't have the capabilities of combating it. And that's all I'm gonna say about that without giving it too much away.
Yeah, don't give it all away. Folks got to come back next week.
So that I think that was like maybe outside of Athelstan that was like the most, well dang. She goes out like that. Cause um
And we have an unsolved mystery. We have a character we're introduced to, and they just disappear, and we never see them again for the rest of Vikings. So we do have that mystery.
hmm. Well, any other thoughts about the season?
No, I think we kind of covered it. I think we did kind of cover it. Every
Okay.
every major person, how they started and ended, and Ragnar's sons have to show themselves, and I think we covered it all. It's like Ragnar served his purpose for 4 seasons.
Hmm. Yes, keep watching Lotus because I think the person I was just talking about doesn't leave until the second half, and I know you watched the first half already. So a five, I should say. So, um, I don't think so. I think that because when I looked it up, I think it was like the second half. It was like towards the end, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, and the way I just remember like the way she does something was so hilarious to me. I'm like, geez, like she do all day. Like she is so messy. Like, anyway, sorry. That I'm just kind of thinking ahead. Sorry, not to and try not to spoil because I'm like, uh, anyways. I mean, if you want to get technical, he kind of it was by the time he is put in that pit. But I mean, I think I know what you mean. Like an older, like older than he actually was, but like Twilight years old. But yeah, um, and I think that I would have liked to see that too. To be quite honest, but they kind of have to go with the history that they kind of have. as much as they have. So they can't really go too long with it because otherwise, um, yeah, I don't even know. Like they, it's just they're doing. I guess maybe people will think that they do too much. But anyways, um, that is it for season 4. We'll be back next week with season 5. Um, that was something. There's like a particular scene that I'm thinking of that I clearly remember after all these years.
Mm,
That is in part. I'm pretty sure in part 1 when they go back to the Mediterranean, go through the deserts and stuff,
mm-hmm.
and it's with one of the brothers. I'm not gonna say which set of brothers, but it's one of the brother, one set of the one brother and one set of the brothers, and a lady. So that was definitely something I was like, I have to rewatch that scene for sure because I don't think I remember everything that happened, but I remember I think the main parts of it, and I'm like, yeah, that was something else.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, anyways, like I said, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. So we'll be back next week. All 20 episodes, and then on the 12th will be all of season 6, and that was, I think, also I think probably better ish in a way than season 5 personally, just because of where they go, or at least one character goes.
Right.
Um,
But they had us
and
dicey in the beginning. I was getting worried.
not happy with me to the gory scenes. I guess a mission accomplished. I guess maybe I don't know, but yeah, I guess that's something. I don't know. I don't want to say you're welcome, but because I don't want to make you immune and desensitized to this stuff. But I mean, I guess if you were to watch, um, if you got to watch like stuff like what you call it, Spartacus or something like that, then you kind of have a leg up. But yes, we got to kind of get out of here. And I will see you guys next weekend.